Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are a little bit early. I wanted to check whether this restream would work, and it did. And so now we're early, and we will just have a bit of a chat while we wait for people to come on. So, welcome. Welcome. Right. Maybe we're not. It says we are. There we go. We're in a little bit of a lag. I can see now. All right. I can see you. So I'm Cynthia Harrison. This is Holistic Mystic, or Cynthia on Demand. We'll be here for about 20 minutes live, and then we'll be shifting over to the Holistic Mystic. So those of you that aren't in the inner circle, Holistic Mystic Mastermind, wherever you're watching this from, you'll see the link, and you can jump onto that and come over in about 20 minutes. We'll be going into that Zoom link. So at the moment we're streaming, and we are a little bit early. So anyone on early who may have a question, come on, and I am going to start recording regardless on this one. So for those of you that are in Holistic Mystic or may want to, you may be looking for a group, you may be looking for a community. We have a community that meets on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can come to both, you can come to one or the other, or you can access the vast library of these teachings and Q&As and tools and techniques to help you with your life, relationships, business, health, wellness, spiritual development. So what else can I tell you about? Because we are 5 minutes early. So if you are looking for, let's just start because I can see some of you are on. Let's just start. And what I wanted to talk to you about today, well, it's in the topic. What stops you from succeeding, or what stops you from healing? Anyone know? Anyone know? Anyone got an idea what might be going on? So you can put it in the chat, because I can now see all the chats in one. What stops you from succeeding? If you don't want to share, that's okay. I'm going to share with you in a moment. So today I'm showing up as the Mystic Medicine Woman. The reason why is because I was contemplating, what are people wanting? What are they needing? And everything that was coming up was, oh, I'm just seeing whether you can actually hear me. There we go. Everything that was coming up was about coming back to what we fear, right? Now, as a mystic, what I have direct access and how information comes to me is through the Divine Mother, the feminine. And there's different levels of feminine. And the feminine isn't necessarily woman. The feminine is the human. We are the vessel for the light, for the information. And so if you've been around for a while, or if you've ever heard me talk before, I talk a lot about fear. I talk a lot about the dark and the light. And I am a minister of unconditional love. We work towards the purity of unconditional love. We work and build our systems, both physiologically and energetically, soul to spirit connections, right? Or from fear to love to unconditional love. Or if you're into the intuitions, right? From instinct to intermediary to divine intuition. It doesn't matter what perspective you're looking for or from, right? When you see and know unconditional love, you'll see it in everything. Okay. All right. So what I wanted to talk about or bring in and get some contemplation, and maybe those of you that have some questions can ask your questions. I was having a conversation with a lady the other day, and I keep saying she's going to be my new BFF, right? We spoke. I was speaking to her about interviewing another woman, and we just got along so great and ended up sharing, you know, her life, my life, what we are about. And there was a lot of synchronicities. So we are looking at collaborating in the near future. But when we were discussing some of what we saw in the world and this project that we were looking at doing together, we were looking at why when we or you or somebody you know heals or seemingly does a healing, or something happens and you feel better, right? Something happens and you feel better. What's going on? And then what happens when, you know, you get a little expansion, or even you come on these lives and you feel good for a little while, and then you go off into your life again and you start to feel a bit heavy, or you go back into your, you know, relative reality. What's going on? What's happening? Do you know? Do you have a, maybe you're not sure, you have an inkling. You might have an inkling. So those of you that just come on, I started a little early. I started a little early, but we're getting into it. So I just want to check something, because I think my next appointment may have shifted. I just saw something coming. All right. All righty. No worries. So let's look at this. And as I said earlier, we're going to go over into the holistic mystic, which is the inner circle, in about 20 minutes. We're going to go deeper into these levels of consciousness, how they relate to what a lot of people are talking about, the rise of the feminine, how certain ancient texts talk about this, and how I'm going to decode it, right? But for now, I want to share with you something more general, because I can't see who all of you are and what you're into. So if you come on here, you may be here because you're going, well, I have something stopping me, or it feels like I get close to something and it's just beyond my reach. Why are you here? Did I just magically pop up on your stream? Do you know me? Are you part of the holistic mystic and come on to these regularly? Let me just check the Zoom. Might need to, oh, there are people waiting in the in the waiting room. Sorry. All right, so we can fully get started now. We have our inner circle here. So we've talked about doubt in the past. Some of you may be new. So those of you that just come on, I started early because Restream worked today, and usually I try and set it up early so that I'm ready to go. And it works straight off. So I was like about 5-6 minutes early. So I've just been tap dancing a little, waiting for you all to come. But I was talking about what stops you from healing or succeeding. So those of you that just come on, think about that. Contemplate that for yourself, or look at a situation and recall it and see if you can get some sort of idea of what it might have been for you that prevented that. Right? Now, I'm going to give you a little hint. If you go straight to somebody else, you know, if my husband didn't do this, or if my kids weren't in the way, like if you go to something else, that's not what I'm asking. And that's a hint that there may be some work to do. And I'm saying that kindly. Okay, let's put the nice girl out the window. If you're saying that, you're blaming everyone else and you're not looking at the one who is responsible for your life. You are responsible for your life. There are things that can happen that may feel outside of your control or your directorship. But when we're looking at what's preventing you from stepping forward, there's a dream within you, a vision, a dream, a purpose, whatever you want to call it, an energy, an essence within you. And I was going to say, so the human development, we have the opportunity in this lifetime to evolve, right? And we get to midlife, and midlife changes as we get an extended life. But, you know, late 30s, early 40s is a space where we go from the earth and physical challenges to more what we might call the spiritual or heavenly sort of challenges. Right. So what is the real density consciousness challenge? And what is the ones that as you develop and mature, hopefully, you develop and mature, and then you have access to more wisdom. So we have those of you that know those triangles, the earth, the heaven, right? And how they meet. That's looking at it from the side. So when we go into Holistic Mystic, we'll go deeper into this. I'm only doing this live for 20 minutes. Then we're going to go over because I have to finish on time today. I have to finish actually a little bit. Don't laugh. I have 2 alarms set, ladies. And if there's any gentlemen watching, but the ones I could see are ladies at the moment. Eric said to me, when the alarm goes off, think of him saying, it's time to end. I was like, yeah, okay. All right. So in our Holistic Mystic, in our inner circle, we're going to be going into some of the codings, right? Deeper into some of the story, some of the mysticism, so that you can have a next part of the next part. When I had a call with my beloved at lunchtime, which was about 2 hours ago. He said, "Oh, what have you been doing?" Oh my goodness. I wasn't doing anything, yet I was doing everything. What came in and what the connections were around what I want to share with students, particularly those in Psi, right? The ones going into the next Psi Cura, was sort of a lot of energy. So needless to say, he got a lot of it, but it was in code. There was a lot of coding. So I was just letting him know, oh, okay, when this came in, this was missing, and this piece didn't come in to fulfill that piece until this time. And when that came in, that created it was like, so in 20 minutes, in 10 minutes, I'm going to tell you about all of that, right? So if you're intrigued, better get into Holistic Mystic. For those of you that are here, I'm going to give you the layman's terms of it, because I don't know who you are and I don't know if you're interested in it, but I know that every human, with the understanding of how the essence, how you are the vehicle for the essence, and when that connection comes in, you have the opportunity for that completeness. While there's a gap, while there's fear, and the gap is you pushing or pulling, so it's being scared, the sensation comes up. How does it come for you? When you get scared, and if you tell me you don't get scared, I'm just going to say, if you want to master lying, go right ahead. Because I'm sorry, I told you that she's out the window. You're going to get it straight. You're full of it. We as human beings, we get scared. We are the epitome of the F word. So what F word came to mind when I said that? No, it's true. It's true. Like, I want to know what F word came. Like, what is, because there's a few that you could go to. I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, I'm here to teach you about the ultimate F word. Right? But what is the ultimate F word to you? Because today I was like, oh, all of those F words are actually the same thing, depending on what F words are in your, right? So when I was talking about that, I'm here to teach you and share with you about the F word and how you can F and love yourself. Don't say that too fast. Oh, go on, say it fast. How you can F and love yourself, right? Okay, so the ultimate F word we could say is fear. How you can fear and love, or fear to love yourself. How you can merge heaven and earth. Earth, fear, heaven, love, together for unconditional love. How do you fear and love yourself? But this morning, my core and my love and my passion and all that I'm here to share as a mystic is around the rise of the feminine, the rise of fear, the rise of all the F words. Now, what I'm going to go into shortly screws it up a little, because we could call it the S word. Oh man, I could write a good story about this, All right. So, so what comes up when you think of the S word? Well, you probably won't get it because it's in biblical Hebrew, right? Samek. Samek. So we're going to go into that and why that is important a little bit, but it relates to the absence of the feminine. And when that aspect, call it whatever you want, fear, feminine, any other F word, or Samek, which isn't a word, it's a letter, right? It's a Hebrew letter. But as that came in and when that came in, and it relates to the ancient texts, many, many ancient texts. So when we talk about the rising of fear in the world, which as a yogini, I have been talking about this for years, as a mystic, my whole life, right? In these times, the dark times, the times when the three wheels of the chariot are stuck in mud, they have stopped turning. One wheel of time turns. Kali Yuga time, they call it, if you wanted to look it up. I don't know what you'll see, but ask a question. One wheel of time turning, one. Feminine is time. Right? It's this. So before we run out of time for this piece, why do we, or how are we prevented from being who we are in this time, whether it's space-time, whether it's this particular point in time? Just write down the F word. It's the F word. Go and tell your parents. It's the F word, mum and dad. The F word that's stopping me. Well, it's not the word. It's how it lives in you or doesn't. So I so want to draw pictures, but I know when I do, I will go over time. Why? That's the creation. Feminine. The circle. The cycle. When we start to bring in the line, it's almost like the umbilicus to the circle. We're talking about the start of time. Well, I just saw an image that sort of blew my mind, but you know, that's for another day. But like that, it's the start of time. Just write that down because you may not know. I will tell you what I just saw, but you also know the circle and the line. What is a clock? Not a digital clock, old school clock. It's a circle, it's a face, and it's a line. It's a vessel to be filled or carry, receive. The circle is the womb. Right? The circle and the line. Depending on what way you're looking at it from. The masculine and the feminine. But it's not just that, it's the divine masculine, the divine feminine. The feminine at different levels. this word that I'm telling you about, Samek, it relates to the drop and the lowering to the lowest. So the shadow of the dark, you've heard me say the shadow of the dark in itself will not harm you. The dark in itself is like the moon, right? It's there to receive the light, to reflect the light as we are. So it says within, I don't know if you want me to quote passages and stuff, but maybe I won't right now. We'll wait till the ministry starts and we can start doing that. But so you can follow along. But consider if you have a background with the New Testament, the Old Testament, or the Torah, or the Zohar even. On the sixth day, what happened? What was created? MA. All right. Thank you. I thought I did. There we go. All right. Oh, we're at 20 past. My alarm's going off. All right, so we'll finish up. We'll finish up here and we'll go over. What is stopping you, in a nutshell, is the F words. So we want to go fear. What primordial fear? So you could go the lights, the fear of the lights, which is the fear of love, the fear of expansion, the fear of all that you are and what that means, and the fear of fear. And how they're held in your vessel, how they're held in your memory, in your field, your energy, in your physical body. And when you go to do something, which usually comes, there'll be a thought or an idea, and you're all excited about it, or there's a pain, there's suffering, illness, and you want to shift that or get out of it, right? So then there's the fear of the pain. There's the fear of it becoming worse, or there's the fear of death, or there's the fear of not surviving, which is the same thing. Or you feel similar to something that happened in your past. These attachment wounds that then start to come into your life. So when you meet somebody or talk about something or an experience, or you're remembering an experience, that fear comes up in your systems. It won't go away, and it's there to try and it's trying to stop you. It's doing what it's supposed to do. So you do stop, right? You stop, or you change direction, or you go a different way. There's a distraction. And I was talking to this woman, I started talking about this earlier, and we were discussing I was actually saying, some of you have done it, but or know, I was talking about it over time, that when I'd sit in grace for people, right? And we were talking about, she was telling me about something, and I said, yeah, that's sitting in grace. And that many, many humans don't understand what sitting in grace is. Even if I describe it to you, it's an experience and it's healing. And we don't need anything else. Right? So if I sit every day for a person, how their systems shift and change. But the point is, I'm not, that's just getting to the point. When they stop, or when I stop, or when they go back into their lives, we have miraculous things happen. And then you go back into all your F's. The fear of the feminine. The fear of fear and the feminine. F's. Right. So I'm saying that way so that you get you thinking, or get you remembering something. Because someone asked me last week, how do you start having a relationship with fear? And that's what we're teaching here. That's what we're doing. And the mind will say, well, the mind isn't actually here, but you get it. Like the mind will say, the mind is in your field, right? And there's more than one mind, the minds, but there's one mind that will tell you that didn't happen. Well, that can't be true. Was I even there? You start to second guess the whole thing. So, I've got some interviews coming up next week. And I was thinking about, so people interviewing me, and I was thinking about, what am I going to talk about for that one? Because it's that audience. And it's not a spiritual audience, right? Necessarily. It's like, business people and all that. And I'm like, well, what am I going to say? And I could talk about anything, but I want to be in integrity. I don't want to go away from what I'm here to do. And I started to think about, well, what stops you? And legacy, because it's about, well, I'll invite you all anyway, but it's called Wealth, Wisdom, and Legacy. And I told the lady what I wanted to talk about, because I know that I would prefer to leave my children and my children's children their sanity, their health, and their ability to navigate fear. I prefer to leave as my legacy not my trauma, but my wellness, my joy, my capacity to live an expanded life. How many people do you know that have financial success? Their health is not great. Their love is not great. Their minds are not great. It's not a judgment, it's an observation. We can leave financial freedom, great, not at the expense. You don't have, okay, we put her out the window, so I'm just going to say it. What right do we have to take the peace of mind away from our children and our children's children, all the generations to come? Because we've been effed up, feared up. We've been feared up, people, right? It's our responsibility to heal. Go and get help if you need it, or do your own play, work, whatever you want to call it. If the legacy you want to leave is purely material, well, so be it. It's just I'm in the I keep saying it. I said it last night again. You know, I'm here to work myself out of a job. The moment that you all have a relationship with all your F's, meaning all your fears and all the levels of feminine, right? The darkest of the dark and the lightest of the light, right? Everything that scares you, everything that activates you, all parts of yourself. How? Come and join us here and we'll share it. If you want to level up again, join Holistic Mystic. If you want to level up again, come to Relevate, where we actually do the processes. We start to touch into the stress, the trauma, the attachment or the dysregulation. What will trickle down through the systems? It will. But to what degree do you want that to be? And I know that might hit some of you harsh. I mean it to. I care about the future of this planet. I care about the humans that are coming after us. I care about you. I care what world my grandkids are growing up in, right? And I know that as we are, the world shall be. So as you are, you have the capacity. That no one here is a write-off. No one here is a write-off. Look, it's not too late for anyone. I know all the things. I know all the things. It's nothing you can tell me. It's it, right? You're all starting at different places, but start. If you just one thing, you start to monitor your either your words or your thoughts. If you can't do thoughts, do words. How are you speaking to people? How are you in the world? Are you kind or are you harsh? And if you're harsh, is you know, where's the fear there? If you're overly kind, is it because there's a fear there too? But there's always fears. Just because you're nice doesn't mean you're off the hook. Yeah, I see you too. I see all you nice, kind people. Because some of you are people pleasing. Oh, that's the other. I'm talking on another series. It's something about people pleasing. So, right. But people pleasing is an aspect, a trait that comes from our encoded way of being, our past stress and trauma. When you say yes, 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 or no, no, you don't want to hurt people's feelings, right? So it's about all of you, not just this end or that end. You want to be a complete, whole, expansive and contractive being. Without the contraction, you don't have the expansion, and vice versa. Without the dark, you don't have the light. Without the light, you don't have to, right? You want to be a human? You want to be here living? I'm assuming most of you, there'll be a small percentage, probably don't. So if you don't know where to go or you don't know who to talk to, if you're hearing this, there's no excuse, because we're here on Tuesdays and Thursdays for free. I can see your messages. Reach out, ask a question. I'm not always in your face. Sometimes I'm apparently too pleasant for some, right? I'm here to trigger you. I'm here to press your buttons because that's how you will start to shift when the brain starts to go, all right, I'm going to love you and leave you. We're going over to our inner circle now. But what is stopping you in any area of your life is how you effing love yourself. How do you fear and how do you love yourself? So on that note, I'll effing love you right there. And I'll see you next week. If you've got any questions, actually, yeah, if you've got any questions, put in the chat. I can come back and have a look later. We're going over to our session now. So contemplate that. Contemplate if you were triggered, what you felt in the body. And we'll continue looking at, what is stopping you? I had a whole bunch of notes. I didn't look at any of them. What gets you stuck? The relationship with all the parts of yourself. I did touch on some of that. Your doubt takes you out of the alignment. Okay? And doubt is fear. So until we meet again, may the blessing